Welcome to another one of my renting series where I share my experience of renting alone. When I was looking for somewhere to rent, I was looking for these information. They were nowhere to be found. Within this series, I'm sharing my experience, how I found somewhat my dream flat, my experience with renting alone, the sites that you can find the apartments, and things to know before you start renting. Previous video that I did is about the process of renting and finding your dream apartment. If you haven't watched that one, remember to watch it after this one, and it will also be in the description below. This video, I'm sharing with you the questions that you should ask during your viewing. Whilst you're at the apartment, you should have these questions in mind, and afterwards I'll share with you some of the questions that you can ask before you sign the lease. I've made my notes here as usual. If there's any question that you have, again, comment below and I'll try to answer them to the best of my knowledge. Disclaimer, I am no expert in this field. I am just sharing my experience. I'm going to share a question that I ask and question that I wish I'd asked. I also pose some questions to ChatGPT to see what people are asking out there, or a question that I failed to ask, and I have them right here. These are going to fall under 7 topics. First, the one we're going to talk about is utilities and living conditions, in maintenance and repairs, noise and neighbors, natural lighting and ventilation, safety and security, parking, transportation and location, and storage and furniture. Let's start off with utilities and living conditions. The first question I asked was how much it costs on a monthly basis for the bills: gas, electricity, water, council tax, TV license. What are the expectation of those costs? They should be able to give you an idea of how much of what that costs. It's not only the rent that we should think about. The bills also is a monthly cost. So that's how we'll know whether or not we can afford this property. I forgot to talk about council tax in my previous video. If you are a single household renter, there is a discount for single household renter. Wherever you choose to move, you need to go on the council's website and apply for a discount. I did that, but for some reason I don't think it went through. Either call them or send them an email. You'll need to make an account as well with the council that you are in. When I moved to Birmingham, I had to go on their portal and make some account, put in my claim, but for some reason I don't think it went through. Just realizing, because someone commented on my previous video saying hopefully I applied for discount, and then when I'm thinking back to myself, I'm like, yes I did, but did it actually went through? So yes, if you're living alone, you need to sign up for that discount so you don't pay a lot. To know what heating system they use as well. Is it gas, electric, or central? Additional questions I should have asked in this area: the energy rating of the flat. I didn't really understand anything about this thing that I will also research about. Separately meters, or is it shared with other flatmates? That's if you're living in a flat. Does the heating work properly in the winter time? I know for a fact if it doesn't, they're not gonna say no, but it doesn't hurt to ask. Or are there smart meter installed? You can look if they have smart meter installed, and you can ask that as well. Under the next one is maintenance and repairs. Who is responsible for maintenance or repairs? Is it yourself or the landlord? Question that I should have asked that I didn't in this section was how quickly are repairs and maintenance? From my experience, they had a portal that you need to sign up on, and if you have any repair issues, that's where you would submit your queries about what need to be fixed, and then they'll respond to you via email, and then they'll send someone up. So ask them all about the repairs. How long will it take for someone to attend to this? Who is responsible for it? Are there any current or recurring issues? When last was these appliances checked, serviced. That is the boiler, oven, the washing machine. Sometimes these are usually shown on the appliances. So sometimes you see the date checked or lost service date. It doesn't hurt to ask if you don't see this on the items. So next we're going to talk about noise and neighbors. The question that I asked was, what are the neighbors like? So I wanted to know the type of neighbors that were living in the apartment building. Wanted to know whether they're students or they're professionals or, working. Do they have pets or their families in here? So the one that it was a mixture of students and professionals. When I say professionals, I mean like 9 to 5 people working. I viewed a flat and they had a mixture, but professionals in one block and students in one block, or they'll say professional on one floor, students on the other floor. So it doesn't hurt to ask the demographic of the residents that live in the flat, whether they work, students, pet owners, etc. But I asked them about the surrounding at nighttime. Is it noisy? I asked about violence as well, robbery, all of those things I asked. Nearby supermarket, trains, buses, even though that was already in the back of my head. Whenever I go somewhere, I always look around to see where the bus stops are, where the trains are, is there a supermarket nearby. On to the bits about crime in the area. I asked about places not to go, zones to avoid. They did offer up this information, by the way. The lady that was showing me around the flat, she wouldn't recommend me going maybe south or west. She did say that area, I wouldn't recommend you traveling to that area, but that area is good to go. So you can ask those questions. If you're someone that's relocating and you are new to the environment, you just don't want to cross a line that you're not meant to go. That can also be a factor whether or not you want to live in that area. Additional question that I didn't ask is soundproof. Is the wall soundproof? How noisy does it get? Can I hear people between the flats? So natural light and ventilation, that's the other one. I didn't ask any question regarding this. But as someone that does social media, it would have been good for me to ask about, lighting. Which direction does this flat face, like the sunlight? Because maybe you want the flat that they're showing you maybe doesn't get a lot of sunlight. And if you're someone that loves natural lighting or a content creator, you might want that flat that has natural light coming in. And I didn't think of that. That's something that I should have thought of. That can also play a factor in the price of the flat that you get. So bear that in mind. Windows double glazed. I didn't ask that either because I think it would have been good to ask because maybe they have other flats that have double glazed windows. Ask, is there good airflow or ventilation? Of course, they're gonna say yes, but it doesn't hurt to ask, within the bathroom and the kitchen, because most of these flats, these bathrooms don't have windows. So storage and furniture, even though it's like ask about storage, when you're viewing the flat, you can actually see whether or not it's enough storage for you. Where I went, there wasn't enough storage, to be honest. They had the cupboard, they had just a utility room. That wasn't enough storage for me, to be honest. Even for my clothes, I had to buy extra rack and put my clothes on. What furniture is included? Even though they're showing you furnished apartments, sometimes it's a showroom. So you need to know what really come with this apartment. I viewed a flat, they had TV and a microwave there, so you can still ask whether it's furnished or unfurnished, what furniture does it come with. Sometimes if you don't want the furniture that they have, sometimes they're like, you don't want that one. Ask if you can remove the furniture that they have in there, but sometimes you just have to take it with what they have because they might not have storage to take it out and put it elsewhere. Also ask if you can take your own furniture. I don't think I asked this one, but when I was moving out, I noticed that there was a back door that I could have moved in my stuff. So when on moving day, or before moving there, you'd like to ask when moving in, is there another door that you can move your things up to your room rather than entering through the main reception area? They usually have like a back door or a exit door that is much bigger and less busier, not too much people walking back and forth. But the reception area, you know, people will be walking back and forth and you want to avoid that. So that's why I was saying ask that question is important. Then unloading bay, the moving van come on the premises to help you move in. Is there parking for that? Would you have to pay for parking for that? Mine didn't. They were okay with my brother driving on the premises and help me to move my things to my room. Next one we have here is safety and security. And for some reason, I didn't ask these questions. So these are additional questions that I found on ChatGPT. There are locks on every door, especially your room door. I could lock myself in my room because whenever I'm sleeping, my door has to be locked. There was lock on my bathroom door as well because it was a open planned area. My kitchen and my living room, there was just locked on the main door. There were locks on mine and I was happy with that. You need to check those locks as well. Check the doorknobs when you're doing the viewing. Turn on the pipes to see the flow of the water. Turn on all the lights as well to ensure that they are working. I remember doing one and the lights didn't turn on. You want to ensure that the heating system as well is working. Some flats you need to read the meter first so you can send it off to the meter company, gas or something company, so they know what reading the meter was before you moved in so they can charge your bill correctly. When you're moving out as well, you need to also take pictures of the meter reading. You need to check or ask if they are smoking alarms where the fire exits are. There's carbon monoxide detectors. Maybe every 3 or 6 months they'll come to check the fire alarm system. I remember they came to my room to do that. They do let you know in advance when they're coming. What type of entry system they have. My one, we had a card. It's like a hotel room card. To enter the room, you need to ensure that that card works as well. In some buildings, they have key fob, so you need to know what and how to use it. Most of these new build, they do have a portal, which is good that you can ask questions. Parking and transportation. Is there parking available and is it free or do you have to pay additional cost? Want to know if it's monthly, if you can pay it for a year. If you don't have a car, still ask this question. I do ask, even though I didn't drive. I ask because what about if I'm having visitors that have car? I want to know if they can park on premises. Is there any nearby parking lot near to the residence that they would be able to park when they are visiting me? Even though you don't drive, it's good to ask that question. If when you're viewing and you see other residents, you can also approach them and ask them, speak to them as well. Ask them, oh, I'm looking to move here. What do you think about the surrounding? At nighttime, do you feel safe? Supermarket, gyms, nearest shops. And those are some of the questions that I asked during my viewing, and an additional question that I wish I asked during my viewing. Now, what to do before you sign the lease. These are some ideas as well that I got from ChatGPT, and I'm going to put my 2 cents in, or 2 pence in. So rent, deposit, and payment. The monthly cost of the rent. Are you meant to pay deposit? And are there any additional fees like admin fees, service fees, cleaning fees, inventory? You don't want any hidden costs. So before signing the lease, you need to ask those questions. What is included in the rent? Is Wi-Fi included in the rent? Some viewings that I did, Wi-Fi was included, and the one that I took, Wi-Fi wasn't included. And I said that Wi-Fi cost me £30 per month at the time. You can also ask, is the rent negotiable? I didn't ask that question. For some reason, I didn't ask that question. It wasn't even at the top of my mind to ask that. Some places, if you're going to an independent landlord, maybe you can negotiate the rent. But where I went, I don't think it was just what's on the website is what you get. But it doesn't hurt to ask if the rent is negotiable. Will the deposit be protected? And when will you get your deposit back? This question I failed to ask. How often is rent reviewed, or will it increase? As a first time renter, I didn't know that my rent was going to increase at the end of the lease. As I said, I paid £1,050 per month, but at the end of the lease, they were going to increase it to £1,200. So I'm like, I didn't budget for that. So back home I go. Also, what is the length of the tenancy? 6 months or 12 months? Can you renew your tenancy after the 6 or 12 months? I did ask, is there a break clause? That is, can you leave the property before the end of your lease? Or what's the notice period if you plan on leaving? Mine didn't have a break clause, but I've already made my mind up that I'm gonna stay for the 12 months. It's about restrictions as well. Are you allowed to bring pets? Are you allowed to paint the apartment? Mine, I think they were very flexible. Nowadays, renting, they're very flexible. You can paint, but as long as you paint it back the color that you got it in, which is mostly white. Didn't paint mine because I wanted everything to look clean. That's why I stuck with the white background. Some people did paint their room. I didn't want the hassle of have to paint back when I'm moving out. I just wanted to hand it over the keys. Yes, they did say that I could hang things on the wall. So do you want to pound nails in the wall, or do you want to stick them? I rather to stick them on the wall, even though when you taking them down, the paint does come off, but you just need to either use putty and smooth it over or just paint it over. Are you allowed to have overnight guests as well? I'm sure that you are allowed, but they have a period of time. Sometimes it's like up to 3 months that someone can stay over, so they have an idea. Legal documentations as well. I'm not going to go into this bit because I am not a solicitor, I'm not a lawyer. I don't want to say anything that I don't know about, but it says legal documentation. Will you receive an inventory list before moving in? And I think I did. I can't remember to be exact, but there was a list there of things that's already, I think, I can't really remember, but this inventory list is really things that are already in the apartment that they have, and you have to tick off the box and sign it. I would say also take videos. I'm going to go into that anyways. I'm going to put them on the screen here. As I said, this is not my part. I don't really understand this area, but I'm just putting what ChatGPT says. That can be quite important. So I'll screenshot it and I'll put it right here. Your own research. So the bonus tips are: take photos and videos during the viewing and before you move in, because during the viewing they'll just show you around and then maybe they'll do a second clean, but you want to take another picture before of every single room. Look at every single thing, look for mark, look for if anything is broken, test everything on the first day. Read the tenancy agreement carefully and get everything in writing, either via email or if you are old school and want them to sign on the dotted line, do that. Yes, that's all I have for today about the questions that you should ask during the viewing and before you sign your lease. If you're watching this video and you've already rented and you think I've missed out any question, leave them in the comments below. If you have any additional question that you think I've left out as well, please leave them in the comments below and I'll try my best to answer them. So that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you on the next one. Bye.